Welcome to It's Not Just Menopause, the podcast that empowers you to navigate midlife with confidence through real talk, root cause insights, and no BS strategies that actually work. If you're dealing with fatigue, stubborn weight, brain fog, or just feeling off and overlooked, this show is for you. Discover what's really going on with your hormones and why it's not just about estrogen. Each episode breaks down what your doctor didn't explain, the internet got wrong, and what your body's been trying to tell you all along. From stress and metabolism to nervous system support and functional nutrition, we'll cover the tools that help you feel more like yourself, again, without restrictive diets, overwhelming plans, or hormone hype. I'm your host, Cindi, functional nutrition practitioner and certified menopause specialist. I'm here to guide you through the midlife noise so you can stop guessing, get the clarity you deserve, and finally take back control of your health. If you've ever felt dismissed, overwhelmed, or like your body just isn't responding the way it used to, you're in the right place. Let's rewrite the menopause story without the fluff. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of It's Not Just Menopause. Today we are talking about why more isn't working anymore. And I know you've been told to try harder, push through, do more. But what if the very thing you've been taught to do, add more rules, more workouts, more restriction, is really the reason that you're stuck? Okay, so if that's you, if you've, cut the carbs, cleaned up your eating, started tracking your macros, and pushed yourself to fit in workouts even when you're running on empty, and you're still bloated, brain fogged, and bone tired, you're not alone. You're not failing, and you're definitely not crazy. So today's episode is definitely for you, because more isn't working anymore. Not just because you're doing it wrong, but because the rules have changed. Your nervous system has changed. Your hormones have changed. And what worked in your 30s or even a few years ago isn't built for the phase of life that you're in now. So let's talk about why that is and what actually helps when nothing else seems to. Okay, so let's rewind for a second. Most of us just didn't wake up one day and decide to push ourselves to the brink, right? We were raised in a culture that rewards women for shrinking physically, emotionally, and energetically. We were told that our worth is tied to our output. That being good means being busy, being nice, being accommodating, but never being too much. So when it comes to health, we carry that same mindset over to restrict harder, to work out longer, and to count everything and to be perfect. Now, counting everything isn't necessarily bad. You do need to know what you're eating, but going to the extreme is what I'm talking about today. And for a while, those tactics might have worked, right? Or at least they gave us the illusion of control. You might have dropped a few pounds, gotten compliments, felt like you had it all together. But over time, that approach becomes less and less effective, especially as hormones begin to shift in perimenopause and postmenopause. So instead of listening to our bodies, most of us double down. We think, I must not be doing enough. So we add more supplements, more biohacks, more plans to follow, more rules to break and feel guilty about. And all that more, it creates a deeper level of stress, confusion, and resentment towards our bodies. Because if you're doing all the things and still feel like a shell of yourself, of course you're frustrated. You've been set up to think your value lies in how hard you can push, and menopause breaks that model wide open. Before we get back to today's episode, I've got a quick question for you. Feel like your body's in chaos, but your labs are normal? You're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. If you've been told it's just menopause or to wait it out, it's time for real answers. Take my free quiz, What's Really Driving Your Menopause Symptoms. In under 2 minutes, you'll uncover your top hidden stressor and get my free guide, The Menopause Stress Fix, sent straight to your inbox. head to cindystickle.com/quiz or click the link in the show notes. If you're doing everything right but still feel like a mess, this quiz is your next step. All right, let's get back to today's episode. So let's break down what actually happens in your body when you keep adding more effort to a system already under stress. When you're in perimenopause or even postmenopause, so remember, the menopause technically lasts for 12 months, just 1 year. You're on your menopause journey, but perimenopause and postmenopause have totally different ways of handling them. Okay, but in both of them, anywhere on your menopause journey, your hormones, especially estrogen and progesterone, start to decline. More so in postmenopause. But most importantly, the balance between these hormones becomes erratic. And this affects everything. Cortisol regulation becomes more sensitive. Insulin resistance increases, making fat storage, especially around the belly, easier. Sleep becomes lighter and more disrupted. Muscle mass declines faster and less actively supported. Inflammation rises more easily. And now imagine layering on things like intermittent fasting, please don't do this, 5 a.m. boot camps, or low-calorie diets on top of poor sleep and daily stress. Your body reads all of that as a threat. It doesn't know you're trying to fit into your old genes. It just knows we're in danger. And it responds accordingly. It holds on to the fat, right? Slows your metabolism, downregulates your thyroid, interrupts your digestion, elevates anxiety and irritability. And this is what I call the stress stacking spiral. You're doing all the healthy things, but your body's screaming, please stop. This is the part that most women miss. It's not about willpower. It's not that you're broken. It's that you've reached a biological threshold. And until you pull yourself out of survival mode, your body can't and won't respond the way you want it to. Remember, it's fight or flight. I've talked about this before. Your body's protecting you from dying, so it shuts off all those other digestion, immune support, all that stuff to keep you from dying, and then it just keeps you in a chronic state of stress. So now that we know more isn't the answer, then what is? The first step, the non-negotiable foundation, is safety. And I'm not talking about bubble baths and affirmations, although those can be very supportive. I'm talking about biological safety. Creating an internal environment where your nervous system can downshift out of fight or flight. Because healing doesn't happen in hustle mode. It happens in calm. And here's what that looks like. Blood sugar balance, eating every 3 to 4 hours with meals that include protein, fiber, and healthy fat. This keeps cortisol and insulin steady, which is foundational for hormonal repair. Nervous system regulation, breathing deeply, slowing down your mornings, taking breaks, not because it's trendy, but because your adrenals and brain need that pause to stop pumping out your stress hormones. Prioritizing rest. And real rest, not just sleep, but mental recovery, space to not be productive. It's okay to slow down. In fact, we need to slow down more in menopause. Okay, no more punishment through food. No skipping meals to make up for something you ate. That kind of mindset actually makes symptoms worse. And saying no to things that drain you, to people who guilt you, to patterns that push you back into the cycle of more. So inside the No BS Menopause Method, my program, this is the work we start with. Before macros, before protocols, before supplements, before anything. Because if your body doesn't feel safe, nothing else sticks. It is the first pillar of my whole system. It's called calm. And we work on your nervous system. Okay? Not weight loss, not energy, not mental clarity. We work on your nervous system. Safety isn't an option, right? It's not optional. It's the switch that turns healing back on. So if you're hearing all this and nodding, maybe even tearing up a bit, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not failing. You're not lazy. You're not crazy. Women have been gaslit by their male doctors for so long, and even some female ones. So just know that whatever's going on in your body is real. And a lot of times it's not mental, it's physiological. I talked about this in my Harmonize Your Hormones group program. So you're also fried, right? You've been living in survival mode for so long that even slowing down feels like failure, right? And it's not. It's the bravest thing that you can actually do, for real, okay? And then this is where everything can start to shift if you let it. I've seen it over and over in my clients. Women who finally stop fasting and start eating balanced meals and their energy comes back. Women who reduce their workouts and walk instead and start sleeping again. Women who stop obsessing over 1,200 calories and lose belly bloat they've had for years. You don't need to do more. You need to do different in a way that works with your body, not against it. And you don't have to figure it out. And that's exactly why I created the No BS Menopause Method. Because surface level solutions aren't enough anymore. You need root cause relief, nervous system support, and someone who actually understands what you're going through. I'm right in it with you, and I know. So if this episode spoke to you, and if you're realizing that pushing through isn't the badge of honor it once was, then let this be your permission slip to try something different. Take my quiz, my hormone reset quiz. Okay, I'll have the link in the show notes. It takes less than 2 minutes, and it'll help you figure out what's actually keeping you stuck. And then it gives you specific things to do for whichever one of the 4 buckets that you fall in. Okay. You can also book a hormone reset clarity call with me, and I can help get you clear on what's happening in your body and what the next best step looks like. It's free. It's like 45 minutes. That's it. And this isn't about giving up. It's about finally stepping off of that hamster wheel and onto a path that actually leads somewhere. You deserve a menopause experience that's rooted in truth, not outdated advice. You deserve a body that feels energized, not punished. And you deserve support that sees the full picture, not just the scale. Thank you for listening today. And please share this if with another woman you know that might be struggling. Because most of us are in menopause, right? And I will be in your headphones next week. Thank you for tuning into It's Not Just Menopause. I hope today's episode gave you real clarity about what's actually going on in your body and reminded you that it's not just your hormones and it's definitely not your fault. If you found value in this conversation, make sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Cindi Stickle Nutrition or head to cindystickle.com for more resources and personalized support on your menopause and midlife health journey. Until next time, keep questioning what you've been told and trust that your body is not broken. You just need the truth and the tools that actually work.